case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan in LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. On this Monday means we're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up. You are hanging out with us here for the next couple of hours. Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Oxnard coming up in 45 minutes. We got to talk about the Saints wide receiving core as well. LSU has added football and basketball transfers since I last left you. And, of course, things were real tightly contested in College Station over the weekend, so lots and lots to do here over the next couple of hours. Appreciate the gang for hanging out on Friday. Did a little jazz festing with my wife on Friday. I think y'all have heard me say this before, Jazz Fest. Not exactly where I love to hang out all the time. If that's your scene, great. Not necessarily for me. My wife loves it. She wanted me to go. We did have a great time. Luke Combs put on a heck of a show. And in the middle of that show, about 30 minutes in, I got word that LSU was not playing baseball. So that made me run a quick route over to the beer store because I didn't have to write a post-game story in my car. So we were able to loosen things up a little bit for the end of the Luke Combs show, which was a lot of fun, but glad to be back here. Unfortunately, Tigers didn't quite get it done. We start the same way we start every single day, and that's with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
I look over into the Bayou Ford chat, and Zachary Moe says, hit the panic button, Hunt. It worked in 2023. I did hit the panic button in 2023. When they blew that lead to Mississippi State, I hammered the panic button because I didn't think they had anybody that could work relief innings, and that ended up working itself out. And this team will need to work itself out, but it's a different issue that this team is facing and that they faced all weekend in College Station. You can point to a lot of things in this series, and it was incredible drama. Neither team in this entire weekend threw a pitch with a 3-run lead. Like, it was tight from the first pitch to the last pitch of the weekend. And you could point to pitching decisions. You could point to lineup decisions here and there. You can point to base running decisions, plays in the outfield. Like, there are a lot of different things, and we'll talk about all of that. But it all boils down to me to one central thing that is the biggest talking point from this weekend, is that LSU's bats are underperforming. Period. End of discussion. They're not swinging the bat well enough right now to play at any sort of championship level. That's just my opinion, and it is bearing itself out. I mean, you scored 7 runs this weekend. Let me just take a trip down A&M's schedule. Elon scored 14 runs on Texas A&M in a weekend series. Elon. Kentucky scored 31. South Carolina stinks. They scored 19 runs on Texas A&M in a weekend. Alabama scored 14 in College Station. The fewest runs that Texas A&M has allowed in a weekend set this year is 7. First to Cal Poly, and then to LSU over the weekend. 7 runs not enough. It's just not. And we talked last week about how LSU has struggled a little bit with some of the aces. You didn't put up a ton of a fight against Liam Doyle or Marcus Phillips against Tennessee, and you did win the game that Kyson Witherspoon pitched, but you only got 2 runs. You only scored twice on people. It's like you struggled going to put was a great. Prager has been tattooed all over ballpark. Just on that Texas A&M staff that is going to be an all-conference selection. Not one. So there is no excuse. Garden variety staff. You don't face anybody in the tomorrow against a 4 seed in a regional in a real weekend of SEC baseball. Those 6 guys hit 188 as a collection, 12 for 64. They had one multi-hit game between them. That was Bear Jones in the first game. That's the backbone of your lineup, gave you 188 on the weekend. On Sunday, for 9 innings against the back end of A&M's rotation, you got 4 at-bats with runners in scoring position. You actually went 2 for 4. You hit 500 with runners in scoring position. But you got 4 at-bats with runners in scoring position. In game 1, you had 5 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Y'all hear me all the time early in seasons when LSU leaves a bunch of guys on base, and I go, good offenses leave guys on base. That's part of being a good offense. There is no good offense that gets runners on base and then always knocks them in, and then they just end the inning after a homer and there's nobody on base. Good offenses create traffic, create runs in doing that, but in doing so, you often leave some guys on base. LSU's not leaving guys on base. They're not getting enough guys on base. They're going up and down in order. They're not creating hard contact. That's not good enough. And that was the biggest story of the weekend, bar none to me. I mean, you look at the game on Sunday, and LSU got 2 runs prior to the Hernandez home run, and quite honestly, both guys should have gotten thrown out at home plate. I know you heard the broadcast team say that 500,000 times, but it doesn't make it any less true. And there's a reason why you push the envelope with 2 outs. You realize that it's difficult in baseball to get a hit. You're less than a 30% chance to get a hit in a given at bat. So if you've got the ball in play and there are 2 outs, you might as well make the defense try to make a play. And Texas A&M threw up all over themselves on both relays. The catcher couldn't catch a reasonably thrown ball from Caden Kent on the first one, and then the second one, the guy couldn't short hop it in the outfield. It was a bad throw in from left field, and LSU scored in both instances. But that's really all you could create, and then Hernandez finally popped a home run. But that was the day that you put up the most offense, and really 2 of your guys should have gotten cut down at home plate, but A&M couldn't make the plays. So it's emblematic of the entire operation as an offense. And the weird thing is, because I've got all the stats here from SEC games, I've got LSU's entire stat sheet in my hand, and the statistics are not that bad on paper. What I'm watching with my eyes is bad. But like Stanfield's hitting .333 with 13 doubles in league play. Curiel's hitting .313. Dickinson is hitting .294 in league play. I promise you, that's a really good average. If you're used to looking at the scoreboard and seeing college hitters hit .330, very few guys hit .330 in league games. A .294 SEC batting average is very, very good. Luis Hernandez has 5 home runs. He's hitting .274. It's really some of the guys that you thought you'd really count on down the list that statistically aren't having a great year against SEC teams. Jared Jones is hitting .252. He's only got 4 home runs, and he struck out 35 times in 24 games. Jake Brown's hitting .241 against the league. Stephen Milam's hitting .205 against the league. Josh Pearson's hitting .258 against the league. Those are guys that should have been proven commodities. The new guys, Stanfield, Curiel, Dickinson, Hernandez, the new guys are actually doing okay offensively, even though it hadn't been a great go for Dickinson the last week and a half. It's some of your stalwarts that should be leading the offensive punch that aren't right now. And there's still time to turn it on, and it's not like it's a complete black hole. There are moments where they do some things really well. But as I looked at this matchup with Texas A&M on paper, and I saw what Texas A&M has done on the mound thus far, Prager's ERA in league play was well over 6. Lampkin's ERA was right around 6 in league games. And I thought this is an opportunity for LSU to really get the bats going. You unleashed against Tennessee's, the back end of their staff in Game 3 of that series. You had a great midweek game. All right, time to show up and really swing the bat. And you heard crickets all weekend. Now, we're going to talk about pitching in the next segment, and that's a completely different conversation to have, and maybe one that's more important. But the question is, can LSU get more from Stephen Milam, from Jake Brown, from Jared Jones, from Josh Pearson? Like, is there more in there? We have seen it over the last 2 or 3 years with these guys. You've got to see it more consistently. This is not an LSU team that's got star power at the top of their lineup in Dylan Cruz and Tommy White that are going to take care of everything with 4 hits every game and 2 of them are over the fence. Like you've got to have 1 through 9 working in synergy, getting on base, hitting the ball hard, shooting gaps, creating rallies. Like that is the identity of this team. We knew it was not going to be an overly powerful group. And you're not getting that consistently enough. And now you don't have the excuse right now of, well, you're facing aces, you're facing first-round picks, you're facing guys that are premium arms. That's Ryan Prager's fine. He's fine. He throws 90 miles an hour, changes speeds. He's fine. Justin Lampkin's fine. That wins above replacement stat in Major League Baseball that says if you put in a completely average player, are you better than that or worse than that, and that's how you rate them. Like these are zero WAR players. They're average SEC starters, and they carved LSU. Just carved them. And they have not done that to anybody else previously. Prager had a nice outing in Austin last week. But other than that, he's gotten annihilated most times out. Same thing goes for Lampkin. I believe Miles Patton gave up 7 runs to both South Carolina and Kentucky, neither of whom can hit. So that's concerning. Am I slamming a panic button? No, I'm not. Does it have to get better? It does. Is it possible for it to get better? Yes. Look at the names on this list I'm telling you. There are some proven commodities that just have to come out of it a little bit. And I know you're talking about a 24-game sample size, and I'm trying to boil it down to 6 here and get you to play better. That's ambitious, but it's not impossible. And we've seen LSU teams turn it on a little bit late. This is exactly the point in the schedule where LSU scuffled in 2023. And obviously it was earlier than this last year. But the bats were the problem. It was not the fact that Chris Stanfield didn't make 2 plays in center field. It was not the fact that they put John Pearson and Cade Arambidi in the lineup for one game in game 1 of the second in Saturday. It was not the fact that they started Evans and they went to Cowan twice. None of that was the issue in this series. You can count to 100 different things you wish had gone differently, but the fact is that your offense and the guys that you have plugged into that lineup week in and week out over the course of now, that's 4 pre-conference and 8 in the league, that's 12 weekends. Those guys have got to swing the bats better, and they've got to come out of it. We'll see if they can do it. That's our Genesis opening drive here on this Monday. There's another part to this equation. It's the pitching. I want to talk about Ianson, obviously, but the bullpen as well is worth mentioning, and we'll get to all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Monday shows brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. Statewide here in Louisiana, wherever you are, and whatever you do, Gulf Coast Office Products has clients in your line of work, and they know your needs when it comes to printing, copying, scanning. They can help you out. I do a lot of printing, copying, scanning here at Guarantee, and I can tell you that all our stuff works all the time. Look how many pieces of paper I have on this desk right now if you're watching on YouTube. All this courtesy of folks at Gulf Coast Office Products. Call our guy Trey Beal and get yourself fixed up there with Gulf Coast. They're online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. I could honestly talk about this weekend's baseball game for 2 hours today. I'm not going to do that because we have some other things we're going to get to. So let's get into the pitching side of things. It certainly starts with Anthony Hyenson, who was brilliant, absolutely brilliant in that ball game on Saturday night. He had the fastball going. It was up to 95 miles an hour well after his 100th pitch. Breaking ball command was excellent as well. And A&M just couldn't really square him up. He just manhandled him. 14 strikeouts and 1 walk. Complete game on 3 hits. And LSU needed all of it because LSU couldn't really do anything on offense in the game either. So it was awesome to see. And right now, as you look at LSU, one of the most important things, and I could argue the most important thing to have in college baseball, based on the way the postseason is structured, is a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation. And LSU has it. They had it last year, and it took them too long to get into gear. But they've got it this year. Cade Anderson has been really, really good, and Anthony Hyenson has come into his own. And if you look at the numbers in SEC games, Anthony Hyenson has been better than Cade Anderson. Anthony Hyenson's SEC ERA is 3.25. Anderson's is 4.22. Anthony Hyenson has a batting average against 3 points lower. Anderson has had some trouble with the home run ball, giving up 9 in SEC play. Hyenson only 3. He's just been fabulous, and he was fantastic in the game and is the reason that LSU got out of College Station with a game. And I'll just paint a bleak picture for you that we don't have to really worry about now. Like, if Hyenson doesn't come up with that performance and LSU loses that game and gets swept in College Station, with Arkansas coming in after what they just did to Texas, and I know it's not weekend to weekend, but you understand the picture I'm painting here. Like, you could go on a losing streak. Like, it is very possible. And LSU needed badly to get at least one in College Station, and Hyenson put them on his back and got it done. Now, let's look at the last game and talk about the pitching decisions as it relates to LSU's bullpen and kind of what I saw in that game. So you start Kason Evans, who just did not have it. Like, he couldn't throw strikes. For the game, Kason Evans threw a total of 93 pitches. Only 50 of them were strikes, 43 balls. He just didn't have command. So the pitch count rose and rose and rose. But to Evans' credit, he did keep LSU in it. He only gave up 1 run. So you go to DJ Primo, and he comes in to face Laviolette, who had a terrible weekend, is really hitting the skids right now. But you got to deal with him. He's one of the best players in the country. So you go to the left-hander, and Primo does the job, gets a strikeout of Laviolette. Then you go to Newt, and Newt gets you through an inning and 2/3. He did give up the one big swing, but that was the only run he gave up. Then Laviolette comes up again, and you go back to the lefty, and Cooper Williams comes in, spins the breaking ball, and gets Laviolette as well. So that's the one guy that Williams faces, gets a strikeout. Then you go to Chase Shores. And Shores, to me, looked very different, but very familiar. And what I mean when I say that, he looked like a different guy than we saw as a starter. He looked like the same dude I saw 2 years ago who was a bullpen arm for the 2023 team that threw a ton of fastballs. And that's what Shores was doing. He did throw one changeup. I think that was to Sorrell, maybe, with 2 strikes. No, maybe Kent with 2 strikes. But he was mainly just throwing fastballs, and he was being effective with it. It was 97 to 99. It was running, and he got you through 2 innings. And then you have a situation in the 8th inning where Laviolette comes up again. And I realize that a lot of folks are saying you need to keep Chase Shores in the ballgame because he's throwing it well. And there's something to be said for that, and we'll never know. But I will tell you this. Jace Laviolette crushes fastballs. He is very likely going to be a top 5 pick in this draft. He's not having a great junior season, so maybe he slips to 10 or 11. But he's probably going to be a top 5 pick because he's a great athlete. He can play center field, and he's got huge power and a good hit tool. But he crushes fastballs, and he had not figured out the left-handed stuff. And so you go to Connor Ware, and he gets Laviolette to hit it off the end of the bat. And it's just not hit well enough for LSU to make a play. But Ware did his job. So you take Ware out, and you go to your dude in Zach Cowan. And you've got the lead by a run, and you go to Cowan. And he's facing Wyatt Hensler, who's a really good right-handed hitter, and he gets weak contact, and it just flares in to right field. And then you got to face Sorrell. And I know that most LSU fans don't know this because you pay attention to your team, and that's what you should be doing. But like, I look at the league a little bit more closely than probably most of you do. Caden Sorrell is one of the best hitters in the league. He's one of the best hitters in the country, and I think he's going to be a top 10 pick in next year's draft. He's sensational. And you have to pitch to him because you've got runners on first and second with 2 out, and you can't walk him to put the go-ahead run on second base. You have to throw strikes. And Zach Cowan threw a fastball, a 2-1 fastball, on the outer third just above the knees. That's not a bad pitch. But he's an awesome hitter, and he smoked it out of the ballpark to left field. Like, there are ways to lose a baseball game. There are ways to get beat. And right there, LSU did not give up the game, did not choke the lead away. They had 2 unfortunate swings from Texas A&M that probably should have been outs that found grass, and then one of the best hitters in college baseball made a phenomenal swing on a pretty good pitch. I mean, you could sit here and say, well, Cowan he got smoked on Saturday too. God, how many days of the week are there? He got smoked on Saturday too. Well, you can say that, and he did give up some hits on Saturday. But the first one was a triple that was hit off the end of the bat that floated down the line and just landed right there on the line. It wasn't hit that great, and it was a pretty good pitch on a breaking ball that was away. It's very unlikely that you're going to go 30 games and your closer is going to just be perfect every time out. I thought Cowan made some pretty good pitches, and I think when he goes back and watches them on tape, which he probably does today, I don't think he regrets any of those pitches. Sometimes you hang a slider. Sometimes you're trying to spot a fastball away, you get the inner third, and they crush it out of the ballpark. That's not what happened to Cowan. He located pretty well, and Texas A&M just made a swing to swing the game. And it was a weekend where the big pitch was prevalent. Folks kept making the big pitch. Finally, somebody produced the big swing, and it was Caden Sorrell with the big swing. I thought that Jay Johnson managed the game properly from a pitching perspective on Sunday. I thought that he made a lot of right moves, and kind of like the regional last year where you got the ball to jump, you got the ball to Cowan. And really, that's the question. When we started the game on Sunday, if you're an LSU fan and you're watching, I'm guessing you're thinking, okay, Evans is going to start and he'll pitch well. And we're trying to get the ball to Cal, and it's really what happens between that matters. What did I say earlier last week? Like, there's a 12-out deal in every weekend that Anderson, Ianson, Cowan, and Evans can't handle. Who can get those outs? And you went to Primo, Newt, Williams, Shores, and Ware, and really all of them did their job. And Cowan got beat on a good swing. But I'll tell you this, to kind of put a bow on this pitching conversation. Last week, Tennessee came in here and hit 1 home run for the weekend. And outside of the 8th inning, 1/8 inning, you pitched it great against a very potent lineup. And you went to College Station this week, and Anderson was really good, and Ianson was brilliant, and Evans didn't have his good stuff, but he held the rope. And the guys I just listed, Primo, Newt, Williams, Shores, and Ware, all came into massively high leverage situations. The series on the line, tight game, on the road, goofballs blowing bubbles, ball 4, ball 5, ball 6. Like, it's a tough place to go play, and I thought your pitching staff handled itself brilliantly. If you would have told me entering the week that in the first game of the weekend that you were going to hold Texas A&M, how many runs did they score in that game? 3, I think? You were going to hold Texas A&M to 3 in that game, 1 in the next game, and they'd get 6 in the last game. I probably would have taken it. But LSU's bats didn't answer the call. But here's the deal. With this pitching staff, you now have a guy you can throw out there on Friday of a regional you feel great about, whether that's Ianson or Anderson. You've got a guy you can throw out there on Saturday of a regional that you feel great about. And you might be able to take control of a regional. Keep in mind, Arkansas ain't coming here for a regional. Texas ain't coming here for a regional. Georgia ain't coming here for a regional. Nor is Texas A&M. Not legal. And then you got a super where you can throw those 2 guys out there to start things. And if the biggest question mark on this team was the middle relief and bridging a gap, you're starting to see some of these guys move forward. I didn't even mention in this, because we were only talking about Sunday's game, what Maverick Rizzi did in the first game of this series. Was that any good? He stepped in there in a tough spot trying to keep LSU close, and he goes an inning and 2/3 with 4 strikeouts, throwing 97. I thought LSU's bullpen looked really, really good. So there's encouraging things with this pitching staff over the last couple of weeks that are trending in the right direction, starting at the front of the rotation and going all the way through the bullpen. The questions now circle back around to, is this offense going to break out of the funk? Arkansas is going to come in here with some pretty good arms this weekend. And then you go to Columbia where they don't have really anything. Florida scored 22 on them in a game. They outscored them 33-3 in a doubleheader. So you've got to find it. But there's encouraging stuff with the pitching staff as the right time of the year approaches that I thought were real positives in a gut-wrenching loss that you experienced over the weekend that came to a head on Sunday. So that'll put a bow on our baseball conversation for now. We'll revisit at the bottom of hour number 2. It's a heartbreaking series loss for sure. It's a disappointing series loss. It's one that really could have been a feather in your cap moving forward and switch the math really in your favor. But on tomorrow's show, I'll talk about kind of where LSU stands right now. And I promise you this is just kind of a teaser for tomorrow, and I'll write this on LouisianaSports.net as well. The numbers still look pretty good. You've got work to do because Arkansas is good this week, and it can change if you get swept. But right now, the numbers look pretty good for LSU to be a top 8 seed. There's only one number that is concerning, and it's the fact that there are 5 SEC teams ahead of you in the RPI. But everything else, if you just took that number out and you just looked at the metrics as they were, RPI, quad 1 wins, conference standing, conference record, all that stuff looks pretty good. You just really would have liked to get that one on Sunday, and A&M ripped it away from you at the end. But that's those are my thoughts on LSU baseball over the weekend. Let's come back and talk a little bit of LSU football next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, Beck, you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
I just got a text message. I'm going to read the content of the text message, and you tell me who you think sent me the text message.
All right.
It reads, there's no punctuation.
No.
Sick as a dog in bed with food poisoning, Celtics -9.
Jimmy Ott?
Jimmy Ott. Giving the goods. Guys, not feeling well, obviously, but he's still going to get the auto locks in for the website. So we appreciate that. But I hope Jimmy feels better, sincerely. Food poisoning, not fun at all.
No, it is not.
But that's humorous to me a little bit that while he is battling himself and probably back and forth from the restroom, he's got to get his pick in. And so we got that. Celtics -9, duly noted. All right, so let's talk some LSU football to this point. The Tigers, I believe, put the finishing touch on their 2025 football roster over the weekend. This is something we previewed last weekend, did come to fruition this past weekend. A.J. Haulcy, safety from Houston, committed to the Tigers. His agency has confirmed he is signed with the Tigers, and that, to me, is a big deal. A.J. Haulcy is a safety who was massively productive last year for Houston. He was first team All Big 12, 74 tackles, which is a big number, 5 interceptions, which led the Big 12, 13 passes defended, second in the Big 12. He played 700-plus snaps on defense for the Cougars last year. That kind of production is tough to luck into. When you're around the football that often, there's something to it. And this is not someone who's trying to make a step up from the FCS or D2. This is a guy who's playing in the Big 12 and putting up huge, huge numbers. Not only was he playing in the Big 12 and putting up huge, huge numbers, he was doing it at arguably LSU's most issue-riddled position, if that's a kind way to say it. Like, Brian Kelly is not one to generally get to the microphone and talk about the shortcomings of a player or position group. And he frequently got to the microphone last year and said, we have to play better at safety. And we'll see how compromised Jordan Gilbert was last year playing with that significant shoulder issue that's held him out all spring. We'll see what you get now that Major Burns and Sage Ryan have moved on. They played a lot of football for LSU. But LSU's got to be better at safety. And so with Gilbert out this past spring, you saw a ton of reps for a number of guys. You saw Javian Toviano out there a lot. You saw Deshaun Spears out there a lot. You saw Joel Rogers out there a lot. TaMarcus Cooley played some safety, some nickel in the slot. He actually played some corner as well. Mansour Delane has played mostly corner since he's been here. We do know that he can go back there and play safety. I feel like, and this is my opinion, that LSU has a new starter at safety in A.J. Haulcy. I think he is a starter from day one. Maybe Jordan Gilbert retains his spot. Maybe Deshaun Spears takes it. Maybe Javian Toviano grows into it. Maybe they back Mansour Delane up into that safety spot because they feel like they've got other corners that can handle that spot. You've got DJ Pickett growing up, and you certainly got Ashton Stamps, and you got Jakeem Jackson, and maybe PJ Woodland puts on some weight, and then maybe you feel like the depth has allowed it to go back there. But my opinion is, based on his production at the Big 12 level, that A.J. Haulcy is going to be a starter for LSU. He's not the biggest, most physically imposing presence out there. He's close to the 6-foot range. He's around 195 pounds. But a lot of tackles, a lot of plays in coverage. And I think that that's going to translate over to LSU. So to me, you've locked one spot in your secondary down. And make no mistake, like, one of the biggest developments LSU's going to have to go from this 9-win, 10-win spot up into the playoff is going to be in the secondary. And it's weird to say, after the decade and a half that we spent around here watching guys get first-team All-American honors and walk across the NFL draft stage and make Pro Bowls, like, that's been the standard around here, and it's slipped the last couple of years. But if they can get better at secondary, that's one of the pieces that's going to inch them closer to the playoff. Like, they've got to replace a lot on the offensive line and play better there and run the ball better. They've got to be better on the defensive front, but in the secondary as well, they've got to be a force. Like, you've got to cover, you've got to tackle, you've got to stop allowing huge plays. I can't watch Guggenheimer from Nichols run 80-yard wind sprints on an SEC defense. I can't watch Lenora Sellers and then Rocket Sanders back-to-back rip off 70-yard touchdown runs. Somebody's got to be there to make a play. And LSU far too often was getting gashed due to oftentimes bad safety play. And you got to cover too. So if you made me put a guess out there as to what LSU's secondary looks like in the first game, and let's just play that game because we're sitting here in early May, and that's what we can do here. I've certainly got Ashton Stamps on a corner, and I've got, I think, Mansour Delane on a corner, and I think maybe DJ Pickett plays corner as well to kick Stamps down, but those are the three guys likely to start at corner. And then I think at safety, you've got A.J. Haulcy, and I think you got Jordan Gilbert, and then TaMarcus Cooley can slot in there as well. I gave you 6 there, which is too many probably, but those are the guys I think that are going to play a lot. Javian Toviano, Deshaun Spears, Joel Rogers, PJ Woodland. Like, these guys are all depth pieces and in the mix, and it wouldn't stun me if one of those guys stepped up, especially Deshaun Spears. But that's the group based on what we saw alignment-wise in spring. And I know Brian Kelly looked at us and goes, hey, don't look at anything on the reps. That's not what the purpose of spring is for. We're just trying to get guys out there when the time is right, and then we'll start to put the combinations together in early camp. But to me, I think Haulcy is a take and a start, because you heard Brian Kelly say after the spring game, and I use air quotes because it was a practice, whatever, like, hey, we're not going to be active, or we're not planning on being active in the transfer portal. We think that we're comfortable going out there with this group. So to me, you're not going to go add unless you feel like you're adding a guy that's significantly going to help. And we'll see what the case is with Bernard Gooden. But to me, A.J. Haulcy, starter. And I think you're looking at a guy who is a difference maker. And they need that in the worst way back there at safety, because they just simply haven't been near good enough the last 2 years in coverage and giving up huge plays. So A.J. Haulcy, they were in a war with Miami for him. He goes to Miami, has dinner with Rick Ross, apparently, private car service, the whole deal they laid out for him. He comes to LSU a week later. Miami took a safety from Tennessee last week, and then LSU goes ahead and closes the deal with A.J. Haulcy. So that's the 17th transfer that LSU has added in this class. That's a pretty big deal. And I think LSU has put themselves in position to field a pretty damn good football team next year. Am I concerned about the schedule? Yeah. But I think you've helped shore up your defense twofold in the last week with the spring portal period, and that's not something that I really anticipated happening. You never know what that spring portal session is going to look like. We know that December is absolute chaos. We know that January can be absolute chaos, but you never know what May is going to hold, and LSU did add 2 pieces that I think are going to be contributors. I think Haulcy's a starter. A.J. Haulcy, safety from Houston, joins LSU's football program. He will be here in the summer. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, and close out our number 1. It is a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Closing out hour number one here on this Monday. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. If you're in Baton Rouge and you're flipping through your Baton Rouge business report this month, you'll see healthcare professionals to watch in 2025. One of those, Dr. Jeremy Burnham. He joins us every other Monday and does so now at Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Dr. Burnham, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Three of the scariest letters in sports are ACL, and obviously in any sport you hear that and you fear the worst. That's going to be, generally speaking, at least a year away from competition. And we were talking a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that ACL tears are used the word skyrocketing in high school sports. I know there are a lot of people listening that have youth athletes. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit and just what you're seeing?
Yeah, it really is skyrocketing, Hunt, and there are a lot of reasons behind it. We don't know every single one of those reasons. We know that it's more common in female high school athletes for some reason. So maybe 7 to 8 times higher risk for female high school athletes than for male athletes. I think part of it is we're seeing some association with just specializing in a single sport maybe too early. It seems like athletes that are playing multiple sports don't have that same risk. I think they're getting more balanced strength and conditioning, whereas if you're playing the same sport and especially the same position 12 months a year, you're putting a lot more stress on your ligaments and your joints than otherwise. So that may play a role as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of times when I hear about specialized athletes, you hear about burnout and kids just decide they don't want to do that anymore because that's all they're doing. But also there could be some injury risk to that as well, which I found interesting. But I think obviously when the damage is done, the damage is done. But there are things that y'all are looking into on the front end preventatively that may be able to slow this down a little bit. Can you speak to that with knee injuries?
Yeah, I think the thing with ACL tears is that even though the treatments have gotten a lot better and we understand each year that goes by, there's more science that comes out and we can treat these injuries better. At the end of the day, if you tear your ACL, you're still going to miss significant time out of your sport. There's still a lot of downtime, a lot of rehab that has to be done. So our focus has really been, in addition to trying to provide that, cutting edge treatment when you do tear your ACL, but really has been trying to catch these patients before they tear their ACL. And so we've done a lot of research, and this is really, over the last 5 to 6 years that we've been doing this, but really starting to see the results of it over the last year or two, is trying to find the things that identify patients that are at a high risk for ACL tear. And so, for instance, we have a 2-minute test that's done very easily without any fancy equipment. You can actually, you could go do it in any athletic training room or, any coach across Louisiana could learn this test very quickly and do it. And then you can identify the patients that are in the bottom 25% in performance on that test, and those people have a 4 times higher risk of tearing their ACL in the subsequent season. And so we're trying to go through and identify, catch those athletes, give that information to the coaches, and then make some interventions that actually will cut back on injury risk.
Sometimes when I ask questions, I fear how ignorant that they may sound, but we'll see how this one sounds. As far as an ACL tear goes, I know we've talked about the fact that sometimes it can happen over time and then boom, it goes at the last instant. Is there anything that you can tell in a lead up to it, or is it just someone that maybe I'm not asking that properly, but you understand where I'm getting? Like, can you catch something before it happens?
You can, and there's always been these kind of eyeball tests that people would say where they can identify, and sports medicine professionals say, oh, that person looks like they're at a higher risk. And what we've really tried to do is take that eyeball test and really nail it down objectively and say, okay, what are we seeing? And can we measure those things and be consistent about it? And a simplified way of saying it is that when people land in a jump, if their knees dip in, that's one of the big risk factors. That's something that's called valgus is the medical term. But we know that when people's knees dip in when they land, that they're at a higher risk for ACL tear. There's a lot of reasons they dip in like that. A lot of it comes from the hip muscles way up high, but that controls the whole leg. And so part of the injury prevention protocol is just teaching people how to land correctly in a way that their knee is not in as high risk of a position.
I drove by Elite this morning, was picking up my wife from getting her car worked on over there on Burbank. Can you tell us what's the latest over there?
Yeah, look, we just finished up, physical pre-participation physical season. We've done physicals on over 700 high school athletes over the last several weeks. About 300 of those were this past Saturday. We brought out a team of about 30 or 40 people. That included, physicians, PAs, physical therapists, strength and conditioning coaches, athletic trainers, and we all worked together to do these pre-participation physical exams. And we also did injury screening on about 150 of those kids. And so really quite a few that we're able to bring through and help give some input on what's going on from an injury risk standpoint. And, every year at these physicals is great because, number one, we just get to, make sure that someone's general health is good. We get to educate them on some things that will lower their injury risk in the future. And fortunately, every year or two, we're able to catch some things early on that result in some medical intervention that really makes a difference in somebody's life. And so that's really what it's all about, is trying to make a difference in the community and keep our community safe.
Incredible resource for our community here in Baton Rouge, Elite, right over there on Burbank. Dr. Burnham, I know you're traveling up to our nation's capital this week. Safe travels, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Hi.
He is Dr. Jeremy Burnham over there at Oxford. Oxford Andrews Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute. We know that sports industries can be unpredictable, but one situation you can protect yourself from is heat illness. We know that heat is coming, and it stays around for a long time. Some keys to look for, maybe excessive sweating, dry mouth, dizziness, fast heart rate, change in mental status. If you feel any of these symptoms, stop physical activity immediately. Find a place to cool off and replenish fluids. To learn more about any sports injury prevention and treatment, visit oxford.org/BR-ortho. All right, Beck, as we get closer to the due date of the young Beck, I want to continue to impart my incredible wisdom upon you. I want you to put yourself in this situation that I found myself in on Saturday. We were at Jazz Fest on Friday, so the kiddos slept at the grandparents' house. I went and picked them up. We were on the North Shore driving back into Baton Rouge. And we got into Baton Rouge. We passed Airline, and so we're kind of getting on I-12 towards like where the split comes to merge. And there was a wreck on the bridge, and traffic was basically stopped. It was almost bumper to bumper. I've got a 8-week-old in the car seat screaming. And I've got a 3-year-old in the car seat next to him in tears because he says he has to go to the potty.
Oh.
What do you do in that situation when you've got basically a stopped vehicle back?
Well, Hunt, I can draw on actually past experience in this situation.
Okay.
As I was once a child.
Okay.
My dad used to work for UPS, and he used to have to cross the bridge a bunch. The basin. What was it called? The bridge that crosses across Lake Pontchartrain.
The spillway.
The spillway. Yeah. He used to have to cross that a lot, and one time he had me and my brother with him in the car, and there was 18-wheeler went over the side, so we were stopped. And you just gotta figure it out. And we went out and got outside the car and peed off the bridge.
Yeah.
You just gotta do what you gotta do.
With Myers, I had to just take him, and he peed on the concrete on the interstate. I kind of wedged my way out, and that's how we had to make things work. But it was a high stress 4 minutes or so with 2 children screaming. I'm thinking, is traffic going to break so I can get to the college exit so that I can go get to a fast food place and he can go pee? Nope, we're not going to be able to get there. He's crying, baby's crying. It's a tough scene. And you're not trying to have an accident in the car with the guy who's just been potty trained for a couple months. It was a tough scene on I-12.
You got it done. You figured it out.
We made it work. I called Alyssa while they were screaming just to get her like just a picture of how things were going. I think she appreciated that. It was it was quite a scene on college. So if you were in that traffic on Saturday and you saw a 3-year-old peeing on the side of the road, that was us. Sorry about that, but duty called. That's just the only way there is to say. All right, that's it for hour number 1. Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs. Gulf Coast Office Products. LSU basketball, 2 transfers over the weekend. The Saints Need to get some guys that look like basketball players. We'll talk about all that in hour number 2. That's coming up on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's an awesome time to go buy a car. A lot of folks, though, when they go buy a car, they don't get too excited about that because they don't love the experience on the lot. Getting pressured by salespeople, feeling like you're getting upcharged, taken advantage of. That's never going to happen at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You're going to feel like a guest, not a customer. You're going to feel like you're being assisted through the car buying process, not pushed. That's part of the process over at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You don't even have to go on the lot, though. You can go to GenesisofBatonRouge.com, and if you find something you like, every car that's online is on the lot. They'll bring it to you for a test drive, whether you're at work, you're at home. That's just part of the experience as well. Check out the inventory at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Go see them airline at PICU across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and they're online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN has learned Michigan football coach Sharon Moore is expecting a 2-game suspension during the 2025 season, part of the school's self-imposed sanctions connected to the Connor Stallions advanced scouting scandal. The NCAA could add further punishments. NBA playoffs tonight: Celtics and Knicks, Game 1 in Boston. Thunder and Nuggets, Game 1 in Oklahoma City. The Warriors are into the second round after a Game 7 road win in Houston. leading to this from ESPN's Kendrick Perkins.
Steph Curry is one championship away and one finals MVP away from entering the GOAT conversation. Real talk. And I would dare somebody to try to argue or make me saying something ridiculous.
Kendrick Perkins on Get Up. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, ESPN at 8 Eastern tonight, Game 1, Maple Leafs and Panthers in Toronto. Browns linebacker Devin Bush is charged with simple assault and harassment after an alleged incident with his girlfriend. A preliminary hearing May 20th.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, I'll tell you the players left in the postseason who have the most to gain from winning a championship. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. We're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for all your printing, scanning, copying needs. Gulf Coast Office Products. Fast-moving hour number 1. Talk baseball for the first half hour to the LSU football there, and then got to chat with Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Auctioner about some ACL things. I thought some interesting information there for parents of youth athletes. If you specialize in one sport, potentially at a higher risk. And I was really surprised to hear that female athletes 8 times more likely to have an ACL tear. And there are some things you can do preventatively in the front end of that. So if you missed some of that and you are a parent of a youth athlete and you'd like to check that out, it was the end of hour number 1. You can certainly go and do so. LSU basketball's roster is set for 2025-2026 over the weekend, or at least since I was last with you. LSU added 2 players, and I can't say transfers because one, not a transfer. PJ Carter is a transfer, and that's who we'll start about to talk. We'll talk about to start here for the Tigers. PJ Carter comes from Memphis, where he played last year. And PJ Carter's role on the 2025-2026 LSU team is very, very, very easy to figure out. You just got to look at the numbers and the history. So let's do that, and you'll figure it out, I think, pretty quickly. He started his college career at Campbell. He was with the Camels for 2 years. Yes, they're the Campbell Camels. He played sparingly over 2 seasons at Campbell. After that, he transferred to something called Georgia Highlands College. I don't know where that is other than Georgia. Don't really care. But I got his stats from there. He led that team in scoring at 16.3 points per game. He came off the bench for most of that year. He shot 43% from three-point range, and because of that output, he was located by UTSA, and the Roadrunners brought him in. He played 20 minutes per game for UTSA in the next season, averaged 9.5 points per game, shot 40% from 3. That was 6th in the American Athletic Conference. Twice for UTSA, he made 5 threes in a game. One time he made 6 threes in a game for the Roadrunners. That's when Penny Hardaway and Memphis came calling for this past season. He came off the bench for Memphis, shot 40% from 3, and when he went to the free throw line, 26 for 28. That's 93% from the line. If you look at his Memphis statistics, he had 12 assists in 35 games. 12 assists in 35 games. That's not distributing very much. He averaged 1.5 rebound per game. 119 of his 147 shots were threes. He is simply a shooter. And I am perfectly okay with Matt McMahon taking a guy out of the transfer portal whose only role on the team is to stand out there and make threes. He shot 43% at Georgia Highlands College. He shot 40% at UTSA. He shot 40% at Memphis. He is going to come into LSU and shoot between 38 and 42% from 3. He just is. That's his game. He did it in NII. He did it in the American. He did it at Memphis. That's what he's going to be. He's not going to average 18 a night. He's not going to be a first-team All-SEC player. He's probably not going to start. But he can shoot. And he's 6'4". So I am all for it. Because we have seen 2 of Matt McMahon's 3 teams really, really, really struggle to do anything at all from the perimeter. And that makes you easy to guard. And if you've got guys who are creative off the dribble, which LSU does on this team. De'Don Thomas comes to mind. Rashad King comes to mind. Even Max McKinnon does a good job off the dribble, and we're going to talk in a second about Ron Zipper. But you need guys that can space the floor and can make teams pay for helping. And I think P.J. Carter on this team is probably going to play 12 to 16 minutes per night, and he's going to take 3 or 4 threes a game. And some nights he might take 3 or 4 of them. And if he gets hot, you leave him out there, and maybe he hits 6 threes in a game. This, to me, is a worthwhile addition. It's a depth piece, but has a defined skill set and role. And you're talking about a guy who spent his entire career, including a year, at Georgia Highlands College coming off the bench. So that's not going to offend him. I like the addition. Again, it's not program changing, but it's a defined role. You've got to have somebody that scares opponents shooting a 3, and P.J. Carter can do that. Now, Ron Zipper is the other addition. It's an interesting name. He's from Israel. And you're going, Israel? How in the heck did they find somebody in Israel? Well, Marcus Dupree, that was the old running back. Best it never was, 30 for 30, really good one. Ronald Dupree, LSU basketball great, spent a long time in the Milwaukee Bucks front office as the director of foreign scouting. He went overseas twice a year to go see basketball players. He's got a lot of relationships overseas. And I'm confident that between he and David Patrick, who's also spent a lot of time abroad, they've got people that know people overseas. And you've got Ron Zipper, who's played multiple seasons in Israel's highest-rated professional league, that's going to come play a year for LSU. This is, you know how often we look at guys on LSU's team or in the SEC and you, I don't think he's an NBA guy, but he might be able to play overseas. You don't even have to ask that question about Zipper. He can play overseas. He's already done it professionally against men. And he is, for better or for worse, he is very, very much along the lines of the European basketball stereotype. I've watched a lot of YouTube video of him, and you're talking about a guy who's not a great athlete. He's 6'4", he's left-handed, he's incredibly fundamentally sound, and he's very skilled. He's got a lightning-quick left-handed release. He shoots it really well from 3, and when he drives, it's usually with some Euro steps. He's not high-flying above the rim. He's trying to use body control and throw it up off the glass. It reminds me a lot, and this is probably a lazy comparison because it's a guy from overseas who's left-handed who played in the SEC. But Santiago Vescovi, for those that remember him at Tennessee, and he played a lot of minutes for Rick Barnes at Tennessee, he looks a lot like that. Left-handed, plays on the ground, a lot of pump fakes, a lot of fundamentally sound deals, shooting threes. And I think the feeling from within LSU's basketball team is that it's likely that Ron Zipper is a starting 2-guard for this team. Because if you look at the makeup of the roster, you're talking about a team that's got De'Don Thomas running the point, that's got Max McKinnon as a 6'6" type 2-guard, Rashad King as a 6'6" type 2-guard, but you've also got a front court that's got Jalen Reed, who's likely going to do a lot of the scoring in the front court. At least that's the plan, or it was this past year. And you've also got a reigning conference player of the year that you're bringing in Marquell Sutton at 6'9", who can help you on the front court. But you don't have a true 2. Like McKinnon and King are wings who are 6'6" and are 2-3 combos. I think you look at Zipper, he's a 2. He's 6'4", he's a shooter, he's a scorer. It just doesn't look like the high-flying, general college basketball 2-guard. He didn't play like Cam Thomas. But I like his game, and I think, here's my thought. This is, and I'm being optimistic here. Forgive me for being optimistic in May about basketball that doesn't happen until November. We'll be decidedly analytical and critical in December and January if things start wobbling. But right now, I'm going to bring out the optimism train, okay, for basketball. LSU doesn't have to fight the big boys and the big NIL dollars for somebody that they found in Israel, right? Like, maybe Nate Oates knows who that is, maybe he doesn't. Maybe Bruce Pearl knows who that is, maybe he doesn't. Maybe Bill Self knows who that is. Maybe he doesn't. And I'm not saying that Zipper was getting the doors beat down for him to definitely go to Kansas. I have no idea who else identified Zipper. But I can tell you that if he grew up in Atlanta, I think the recruiting story would be a little bit different. And maybe, just maybe, the addition of Ronald Dupree and David Patrick's international contacts allowed LSU to find somebody that other schools wouldn't find as quickly. And maybe he's a higher level player than I think because they didn't have a lot of competition in recruiting him. That's what I'm going to tell myself until I see Zipper play in person. I liked the tape. I think he's going to be a high percentage three-point shooter. I think he's going to start. I think he's going to average 12 points a game. That's my assumption. That's my guess based on watching some tape. But you've got a guy on your staff now in Ronald Dupree who gives you access to things that you didn't have previously. And maybe it's a bust. I hadn't thought about this pre-show, so I don't have this written down. I can't think of the name of the Darcy Malone that Johnny Jones brought over from Australia. Just didn't work out. And you had Shane Hammock came over as well. But those were some guys that you brought over from internationally that it just didn't work out. But maybe this is one that does because Ronald Dupree's got different relationships over there. So he doesn't have 5 stars by his name, 4 stars by his name, 3 stars by his name. You went and got this guy from a place that nobody was shopping. But hopefully it's a hit for LSU, and that's going to put the roster together. I was reading Matthew Bruni's piece over on 3. I highly suggest you go do that. Matthew just does an awesome job covering the basketball team for On 3 and is good enough to give us a little bit of time here during basketball season. And he believes as well that you're going to see Zipper in the starting lineup. It's a different look, but it's one that I think could work. And that there was a reason behind bringing Ronald Dupree in. This is one of them right here. So you got a sharpshooter from Memphis coming in and potentially a starting 2-guard from Israel to be the final finishing touches on this LSU basketball roster. I'm going to have a portal preview up on Zipper here when my show ends in about 45 minutes. If you want to check that on LouisianaSports.net, I highly recommend that you do so as well. So that's it for basketball talk here on this Monday. We're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. When we come back, is there a significant issue with the Saints offense that we haven't talked as much about? We'll do that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, storm season is around the corner. And with that comes risk, and that's what insurance is for. Do you know what your property policy says if you're a business owner? Do you know what your co-insurance penalties are? Do you know if your buildings are properly evaluated? Do you know that if you have a loss, you're going to get paid out properly? Is your business interruption limit properly written? Where'd you get that number? Do you know what that is? There are a lot of issues that can arise in property insurance. It's not just, okay, we got the insurance covered, here's the premium, let's go. Make sure it's right. And the Highland Insurance Group can do that for you. Jonathan Carbo and his team are awesome to work with. I love sitting down and chatting with that entire team. If you're looking for a second opinion on your insurance, just could not recommend Highland Insurance Group enough. It's HighlandIG.com on the website. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hope your work week's off to a good start. Shout out to the folks at Gulf Coast Office Products for making our Monday shows possible. If you're any sort of business, Gulf Coast Office Products has clients that are in your vertical market. They know the needs of whether it's in finance or in banking and education, healthcare, law, like us, media company here. And there's advantages to working with the big box store. They got a lot of resources, maybe not the best customer service. There are advantages to working with the mom and pop store. Incredible relationships, customer service, maybe not all the resources to help service your needs. Gulf Coast Office Products hits that beautiful middle spot where they've got plenty of resources available to help you, whether it's the inventory they have on site or their incredible staff. And they've also got just an amazing people that work there. Certainly Trey Beal, one of those. He's helps us out here at Guarantee Media, and he's just an awesome dude to do business with. Gulf Coast Office Products can help you out, printing, scanning, copying, all online, gcop.net, gcop.net. All right, let's talk some Saints here. There are 10 wide receivers currently with the Saints, and it's pretty obvious when you start to go through this. It's also mildly concerning, and I'll get to that in a minute, but it's you look at this. Chris Olave is 6 feet tall, 187 pounds. Rashid Shaheed is 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. Brandon Cooks is 5'10", 190. Mason Tipton made some waves in camp last year. He's 5'11", 187. All of those guys are the same size. And you don't have anybody that's 6'3", not a single wide receiver of the 10. Like Cedric Wilson is 6'2", 197. But I'm not about to go ahead and call him some sort of established possession receiver in the NFL. Kevin Austin is 6'2", 200. Bub Means is 6'2", 215. But those are kind of unproven commodities at the back end. Certainly Means is. They don't have a 6'4" guy to be a possession receiver, to make contested catches, to help a quarterback. And that is the point that we eventually get to. You are now, as an organization, really charged with creating an ecosystem conducive to Tyler Shoug's development. Like, that becomes the most important thing you're doing now. This has not been the case for the Saints in a long time. This is the highest you've taken a quarterback in 50 years. So nobody in this front office has been in charge of the development of a young quarterback. Now, Shook is 26, so he's not as young as a 22-year-old starting quarterback, but your organization is now geared toward Tyler Shook, in my opinion. And you need to do everything you can to put a group around him that fosters his development. And to me, putting a bunch of 6 foot, 190-pound wide receivers out there that all look and play kind of the same is not exactly the best idea. What's a best friend for a quarterback? Somebody that doesn't need a ton of space to be open. Somebody that can use his body to make contested catches. You need a 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver that can win at the line of scrimmage and create easy throws and catches. As awesome as it is to watch Rashid Shaheed run, like some of those throws can be tough to make. You got to take a lot of time. You got to let him get down the field. You got to have a lot of touch. Like something too, and you use Michael Thomas as an example. He just wins off the line of scrimmage on a slant, snap, throw. Like that's easy. And the Saints don't have anybody of that ilk at this point on the roster. Rashid Shaheed, Mason Tipton, Chris Olave, Moochie Dixon, Brandon Cooks, Chris Tyree, Dante Pettis, Cedric Wilson, Kevin Austin, Bub Meads. 1, I don't think you're talented enough at wide receiver. 2, they all look the same. So something has to be done to address that. Now, Keenan Allen's name continues to come up. He fits the bill. I don't know how much money he wants to make. I don't know how much the Saints can make available to him, and I don't know what's important to him. Is it important to him that he plays with Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore again? Is it important to him to have $1 more than the second best suitor? Is it important for him to win a Super Bowl? Well, the Saints have Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore. The Saints can probably move around some money on a 1-year deal. The Saints aren't going to the Super Bowl this year. So if that's what is important to Keenan Allen, you're out. But they have got to find a way to address this wide receiver situation. I believe they probably should have done it when they selected the tight end from UCLA in the draft. You look at tight end, like Juwan Johnson he's bigger than these guys, but he's not like some sort of 6'7" freak that can do the things that I'm saying. Juwan Johnson is listed at 6'4", 231. I don't know that Foster Moreau is a perfect safety blanket for a quarterback. And now, like, it's my opinion, almost every decision you make offensively has to be with Tyler Shook in mind. To me, the Saints right now are wedded to him. Kellen Moore is wedded to him. Now, it's possible that you go out there and you go 3-14 this year and you draft a quarterback first or second overall next year, and then you're back in the same spot, like in terms of fostering a young quarterback, but it's not Tyler Shook. But right now, with what we know, Shook has to be the priority. And I think you're doing him a disservice with this wide receiver core right now. It's why I thought the Brandon Cooks signing didn't make a lot of sense. You got Rashid Shaheed, but older and slower. Cooks has had a great career. Great career. Longevity, production. He's bounced around a lot, but a great career. At this point in his career, he's a worse option than Rashid Shaheed to me. So that money didn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, what you don't need to do is tie up a bunch of money in an aging wide receiver. That's not what I want you to do. We've talked about this same refrain and chorus for months. Younger, cheaper, younger, cheaper, younger, cheaper. Don't go sign somebody old for a lot of money in a couple of years. Don't tie up any money. But there is no such thing, really, for the Saints at this point as a bad 1-year deal. Because I don't think the Saints are going to be that great in the fall. And if the money comes off the books after that, okay. But if you can come in and help foster the development of a young quarterback, that money is well spent. You would invest it in 2025 for the return as the quarterback develops beyond that year. So if Keenan Allen's the guy, I'm perfectly good with that. I don't expect him to come in and catch $1,400 yards worth of balls. But I do think that he would come in. He would be a pro. Even though he's probably lost a step or a half a step, he would create that big body presence that Shook could lean on a little bit. But as I look at that depth chart right now, it ain't there. And that is concerning to me. So the Saints need to go out and address that some way, shape, or form. It's that cliche that has started to be tossed around a little bit more often. I heard Joe Sloan from LSU say it earlier this year talking about tight ends, as you want your receiver group to kind of look like a basketball team. You can have a couple of 6-footers out there, but sprinkle in a 6'5" guy that's longer and leaner. Sprinkle in a 6'3", 6'4" guy that's a physical presence. A high leaper, physical guy at the line of scrimmage. And I look across this and I see 6 foot 190, 6 foot 190, 6 foot 190, 5'11", 195. Like, it just looks too similar. They need to create some diversity at the wide receiver spot. Hopefully that opportunity presents itself here over the next couple of weeks. We're coming up on June 1, start of a new year. And you got to find a way to address that need now the draft is passed and free agency will be your only option to this point. So that's a look at the Saints wide receiving core. If you're looking for your Saints content, you can certainly find it at LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson is all over it. And you can find it at Hunt on Saints wherever you find your podcast. Just search Hunt on Saints. You can also do that on YouTube. Subscribe up to the channel. We always appreciate that. We've really done a great job of growing that channel over the last year and a half or so, and appreciate you all that have subscribed and will subscribe here in the coming weeks. Hunt on Saints. That's where you can find us all year round with your Saints coverage. All right, Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. We'll come back, switch back to LSU baseball. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I talk about renovations and remodels, and a lot of you probably look at that and go, man, that sounds time-consuming, sounds invasive, sounds expensive. It doesn't have to be. Like, they can do a full-scale bathroom renovation or reconstruction for you. They're licensed contractors. But maybe it's something simple. Maybe you just don't use your bathtub. It's taking up space. It's old and dingy. It doesn't look great. It doesn't function well. Take it out. Put in a new shower. Brand new shower. Completely liven up that bathroom. Change the functionality of it as well. Add a little value to your home. Check out the pictures at OneBathAndClosets.com. You can see pictures of David and his group's great work. They can put in new vanities in the bathroom as well. They can customize your closet. Any number of things as far as home improvement goes. David Vaughn and team at One Bath and Closets can do it. They are licensed, bonded, and insured. Go to OneBathAndClosets.com to request that free consultation today. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, let's go back to LSU baseball. I know a lot of people were uncomfortable with a lot of the lineup and defensive decisions that Jay Johnson made over the weekend. And I'm not here to defend all of them. It's an argument that is pretty fruitless because we can't know what the person who didn't hit would have done. That's an unanswerable question. But I will say this. This is my take on the matter. Jay Johnson is maniacal about preparation. He is just so locked in on all the information that he can gather on opponents. And he uses that information to try to make the best decision that he can. There's never going to be a time where he just willy-nilly makes a call. He's just not wired like that. I've spent a lot of time around Jay Johnson, certainly listened to his post-game press conferences, and there's always a method to the quote-unquote madness. I know that a lot of people did not like that Josh Pearson went 3 for 3 in the first game, and then you came back out in the second game, and he was on the bench. I will try to put some potential reasoning in front of you. Again, I'm not here to justify it. And if you want to say he was 3 for 3, he has to play in game 2, I'm not going to argue with that. But here's the deal. Ryan Prager is a changeup guy. There's a lot of changeups. A left-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher can neutralize the changeup. You go to game 2 with Justin Lampkin, he throws a lot more sliders. I think Jay Johnson wanted to get John Pearson in there, who's right-handed, because John Pearson has crushed left-handed pitching all year. Now, it wasn't SEC pitching. Big difference, and John didn't have a great day against Lampkin, eventually got pinch hit for. But I think that's the reason for it. I don't know that. He didn't say that. But I'm just trying to give a little context based on what I know and the situations that presented themselves. I know a lot of people were uncomfortable with Cade Arambidi getting a start in game 2. That probably has more so than anything to do with the fact that he didn't want Luis Hernandez catching 18 innings. That's a lot of strain on a college catcher to go out there for a doubleheader and catch him. Usually if you see a Major League Baseball doubleheader, you'll see both catchers catch a game. And in this instance, that's what LSU decided to do in the game. I know there are a lot of folks that get irritated when Jake Brown comes out of the lineup. I will tell you this about Jake Brown to this point. In SEC games, he's won for his last 15. And in league play this year, he's hitting .241. Only Stephen Milam among the regulars has a lower batting average than Jake Brown in league games. And I think he felt like Josh Pearson gave him a better chance against Prager in that first game. And Brown's always going to be available off the bench. And usually, when LSU doesn't start Pearson, Brown, or Fry, usually one of those guys gets an opportunity to hit. And in this instance, Brown started the first game, and then Brown did not start the second game, but he did get a chance to come in and pinch hit. And then Brown did not start the third game, and he got a chance to come in and pinch hit. So those guys are getting used. They're just not getting the 4 at-bats that you're looking at. I know that a lot of folks, and let me pull the third box score up here, didn't like pinch hitting for Luis Hernandez after he was 2 for 3 with 3 driven in. Hernandez did that damage off of Miles Patton, the left-hander. They brought in Weston Moss, the right-hander, who does have a really good slider, and he went to Tanner Reeves, the left-handed bat, in that spot against with Hernandez's spot. Again, I'm not here to tell you it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to help talk you through some of the decisions and why they may have been made. Again, to illustrate the point that I just don't think Jay Johnson ever does anything that's just on a whim. Like the one thing that I can remember Jay Johnson did that I couldn't find a great statistical reason for, I think it was just in the moment it may have felt right. Again, and I'll have to ask him this when the season's over and he's got a press conference opportunity and I got a chance to go. LSU meets with the media every single time. It's at like noon or 1 o'clock, right when I'm starting and I can't go, which is a bummer. But the one thing he did, and I was like, whatever. He started Cade Beloso in the leadoff spot in Game 3 of the National Championship Series against Florida against Jack Caglione. Beloso had not hit leadoff all year. You had played like 70 games. But he did have a big swing in Game 1 of the series, and he put Veloso in the leadoff spot, and Caglione promptly hit him with like the second pitch of the game. So that one, to me, I would have had a hard time coming up with a statistical reason other than maybe you felt like Beloso was seeing the ball great. You wanted to put Cruz right there behind him. Cruz had been leading off. So maybe. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. That's the one that I looked at and I was like, I'm not really sure about that one. But everything he's doing here from an offensive perspective is generally speaking with numbers and metrics behind it. And sometimes it doesn't work. And here are the facts of the matter. When Jared Jones goes 3 for 13 and Derek Curiel goes 1 for 12, Daniel Dickinson goes 1 for 8, Stephen Milam goes 3 for 11, Michael Braswell goes 2 for 10, and Chris Stanfield goes 2 for 10 for a 188 average between the 6 of those guys. The offense is just not going to perform. It's just not there. And it's less about the one at bat here or there with that guy or that guy, and more about the fact that these are the guys that have carried you all season. These are the guys that start every single game, and these are the guys that did not do anything this weekend. And I'm, of course, not concerned at all that Derek Curiel went 1 for 12. Like, not in the least. I'm not concerned at all that he didn't get on base in that doubleheader. But keep in mind, Texas A&M starts 3 left-handers, and that can be tough on a young left-hander. He's hit lefties great all year, and he got a hit off Patton in the game on Sunday. But that's the group that's going to have to hit a little bit more. And guess what? Jones is right-handed, and Dickinson's right-handed, and Milam in this instance is right-handed, and Braswell's right-handed, and Stanfield's right-handed. All those guys, outside of Curiel, hit right-handed against left-handed pitching, and they just didn't do a lot this weekend. I'm perfectly fine with a platoon of Ethan Fry and Josh Pearson and Jake Brown. They'll know what pitchers do. Some guys may handle velocity a little bit better. Some guys may handle sliders a little bit better. Some guys may see changeups a little bit better. Like, they've got all that number. They've got all that data. So they're going to make a decision that is in line with that. And yeah, there is some gut that goes into it, some seeing the situation, seeing who's hot and all that. And again, this is not a justification. I am not here sitting in this chair telling you this is right, that's wrong. He's right, you're wrong. That is not the point of my analysis. I'm just trying to bring the discussion forward because I get a lot of this in the Bayou Ford chat. I get a lot of this on my Twitter. I see a lot of this on message boards. I got a group text that goes LSU baseball that asks questions, and I think when I see people asking the same questions, it's reasonable for me to comment on them. I don't think you're going to see a significant change in that strategy, and I'm okay with it. I trust Josh Pearson at the plate. I think Jake Brown's a good player. I think Ethan Fry really hits lefties hard. So any of those guys in the lineup, I feel pretty good about. I think you take a pretty big step backwards offensively when Cade Arambidi's in there for Luis Hernandez. But again, 18 innings on a catcher is tough to do. And maybe if Hernandez catches 18 innings on Saturday, he doesn't have it in his legs to drive the ball out of the ballpark on Sunday. Didn't end up helping you any, but just a thought. So I think this is going to continue. I think it's going to continue to drive people nuts, but that's the makeup of this team. When Jay Johnson is the head coach at LSU, as long as he's here, LSU is going to do a really good job of roster building. They're going to get a lot of good players. They're going to recruit a lot of good high school players. A lot of those are now foregoing the draft to come to LSU. They're going to go to the transfer portal, and they're going to get a lot of good players. And when you have 12 good players, they can't all play every day. Some years, maybe you settle on 9, and those are your 9 guys. But more often than not, I think, my opinion is, more often than not, moving forward with Jay Johnson in the dugout, you're going to have a lineup that consists of 11 guys, 11 or 12 guys. And you're going to rotate those guys to put them in position to be as successful as possible. That's just kind of where I am on this. Now, to put a bow on the baseball discussion for today, and we did a lot, and we did 30 minutes at the top of the show. If you missed it, want to go back and check it out. LSU is still in a pretty good spot as far as a top 8 national seed goes. And that's really the only reason you play the regular season. Because then you get into a crapshoot in the postseason, and it's game to game, weekend to weekend. And your goal is to put yourself in the best position possible once you get to that time, and that's by playing at home. And I think LSU is 4 SEC wins away from sewing that up. The thorn in your side here is the top of the rest of the league is good. And Georgia's in position to get a top 8, and Arkansas is in position to get a top 8, and Texas is in position to get a top 8, and Vanderbilt's in a position to get a top 8, and Auburn's in a position to get a top 8, and you're in a position to get a top 8. Tennessee could play themselves in a position to get a top 8. Like, there are only 8 spots, and I don't know how many they're willing to give to the SEC. So that's your biggest problem. Your Q1 wins are good enough. Your RPI is good enough. Your standing in the conference is good enough. You're in 3rd place in the SEC. You've got a reasonable enough road record. Like, your strength of schedule is not awesome. Non-conference strength of schedule is terrible. But every other metric is really good, except for the fact that there are a lot of SEC teams with RPIs just in front of you that are looking to track you down. Got to take care of your business this weekend against a good Arkansas team. And I can promise you this. If you're planning on beating Arkansas 2-1 like you did Saturday night against Texas A&M, you better think again. Because it is certainly possible for Anderson or Ianson to shut Arkansas down. I don't think it's likely. You need to hit the ball to beat Arkansas. And so that's the challenge that LSU's got in front of them. And candidly, it'd be just fine with me if it rained really hard tomorrow and Grambling didn't get on the bus from North Louisiana. Because playing that game does LSU no good at all. None. It's an RPI anchor. You got to put guys out there. I'd rather not play Grambling in May if I had it my way. But it's on the schedule, and you can't cancel it. They changed that rule. You've got to have actual weather, inclement weather to do it. It looks like the weather's not going to be great tomorrow. Hopefully, Grambling doesn't get on the bus. That's my hope at this point. Send him a check. Say, thanks for not coming. But we'll see how that all shakes out. All right, we got one break to go. One more segment to go on a Monday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every single car that is on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every single vehicle that you purchase at Genesis of Baton Rouge comes with 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Means you don't pay for it. That's pretty good. And it's valet. They come to you. They get the car. They bring it back to the dealership. They deal with the maintenance. They bring it back to you. You never miss a beat. Every single new Genesis purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Entry level, highest end, doesn't matter. 10 years, 100,000-mile warranty. That's a long time, 10 years. When you think Genesis Baton Rouge, think luxury. Go by and see them. Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital. If you're getting a vehicle in Baton Rouge, you're probably on Airline Highway anyway. Get on by and see my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can check them out online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. That's genesisofbatonrouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
We'd like to send out a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners because of their generosity during the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon presented by the Baton Rouge Clinic. We raised an incredible $15,000 to help grant dreams for local kids facing life-threatening illnesses. Special shout out to Lewis Mechanical, Action Industries, Patient Plus, Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevy, Luba, Duplessis Pool Builders, and our title sponsor, the Baton Rouge Clinic, for making this possible. For all of us at 104.5 ESPN, we would like to thank you for helping make so many dreams come true.
That is incredible to hear that you, the listener, were able to do that and to help us to raise that money, making those dreams come true for Louisiana kids. We've had some of those kids come through the radio group here over the years, and just incredible young people. And to put smiles on their faces just means a ton. And we're not able to do that without you, the listener, every single year being as generous as you are. So we certainly appreciate each and every one of you who did donate, and those dreams will be made true. They do an incredible job over there, whether it's meeting an athlete, going to Disney, a pet for the family, or whatever the case may be. Dreams Come True is just an incredible charity, and that money stays right here in Louisiana. So again, thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts here at Guarantee for helping us with that every single year. All right, Beck, do we have any Take It or Leave It's?
Yep.
Sweet.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. All right, first one here. Greg Popovich announced his retirement from the NBA today. Yeah. It was pretty funny, too. He said now he's going to be going by El Jefe because he's still going to be in the front office for the Spurs.
What is that Spanish for? I don't even know.
The boss.
Okay.
Yes, and of course he had Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili, two of the pillars of the Spurs franchise, with him as well. Pop is the best coach of our lifetime. Take it or leave it.
That would certainly include Phil Jackson.
I guess we should also specify NBA coach.
Yes. I'll take it. Why not? He did an incredible job. I think the NBA coaches come and go so quickly. It's crazy. He was obviously had that incredible longevity, and they were really, really good for a long time. He had Hall of Famers with him, but he was an incredible coach, and I think it was validating that they had really good teams even after some of those guys moved on.
Yeah.
I think that was I think that's reasonable to suggest. So I'll go with it, even though Phil Jackson, pretty good run.
He did, but of course, one of the things you can mention when you mention Phil Jackson is kind of similar to the Bill Belichick thing. It's like, well, Bill Belichick had Tom Brady. Well, Phil Jackson had Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Greg Popovich never had.
He had another guy too.
He did, yes.
He had Jordan.
Yeah, that's why I said Jordan. Did I say Jordan Bryant?
You said Shaq and Kobe.
No, I thought I said Jordan Bryant. But
either way, maybe
yes.
I wasn't listening. I was just anticipating that you weren't going to say that.
No, of course that you can add that one to that list as well. Pop he had Hall of Famers. Pop did, but never anyone to that level, and always had really good teams and just drafted well. So I would probably go along with that as well. Next one here, LSU Shreveport, Hunt.
The Pilots.
They're 51-0.
The pride of East Kings Highway.
Entering the NAIA postseason. The Pilots
51-0.
The Pilots are having the best season in Louisiana college baseball history. Take it or leave it.
Well, LSU's got 7 banners, so
but we're just talking about one season.
We're talking about a season. I mean, 51-0 is ridiculous.
If they go undefeated and win the national championship,
I don't know how that's possible.
I don't either.
Am I 100% sure that LSU's Baton Rouge team would go 51-0 against the NAIA schedule? It's baseball.
Yeah.
You'd think one pitcher, you hit some balls out.
LSU got run ruled by Northwestern State.
Yeah. That's crazy to go 51-0. I gotta feel like I need to see some of these teams they're playing.
Yeah, I'm guessing some of them were not very good.
No, I would guess that's fair to assume. But 51-0 is pretty salty. But I can't give the Pilots credit for the best season. I gotta go with Skeens and Cruz in the gang.
Well, let's look. There's still time. Okay, let's see what they do.
We'll see if they run the table.
If they run the table, then there's got to be some talks there.
What do you think is crazier, that Maryland Baltimore County or whatever it was? Maryland Eastern Shore went 0 for last year, or this one 51-0. I think it's crazier to win them all, but losing them all is really impressive.
It is because just again about the fact of the how easy it can be to lose a baseball game. It's also on the flip side. Also,
I've watched LSU lose to Southern in a midweek.
Yeah,
that stuff happens all the time.
It does. All right, last one here, Scotty Scheffler, who I will admit, Hunt, last week when you were trying to select your player for fantasy, I said, no, don't. Why would you take Scotty Scheffler in a $9 million purse tournament?
You could.
You could.
He wins by 10 shots.
And, he won by 8 in his hometown tournament, the CJ Cup. PJ Tour tying record score of 31 under for the tournament.
31 under.
He went 61, 63, 66, 63. That was his 4 scores for the 4 rounds of that tournament. But what I have to ask you is, will Scheffler get one of the remaining 3 majors? He will. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think that's a reasonable bet for him to P Dove in the chat. Who y'all got if Mizzou played LSUS? Well, we might not want to find out.
No.
Mizzou did get smashed by a SWAC team back in February. So, look, what were we talking about there? Scheffler.
Will
I'll take him to win a major. What was actually ringing around in my head, he shot 31 under. How long is it going to take me to make 31 birdies from today? It's like a 4-year journey.
For you, I don't know. Yeah, what do you probably make? Maybe 1 or 2.
I'd probably make 1 a round.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 7 rounds a year.
You're playing less and less.
7 rounds a year. So I'm making 7 birdies a year. To get to 31, it's going to take almost 5 years. That's
going to take a minute.
That's very disappointing.
He is professional.
He did it in 4 days. It's going to take me 5 years.
You don't have the skill or acumen of Scotty Scheffler, Hunt.
I truly don't. My wife thinks I look like Scotty Scheffler, which is a little ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Every time he comes on, she's like, "Oh my God, you're like twins!" Yeah, you should see our golf swings. Very similar. Checking accounts too. Right on the money.
Really close, you think?
Yeah. Oh. If he gave all of his money away, then it would be really close. We have any more?
That's it.
All right. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, all of them can be handled by our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. No matter what vertical market you're in, they've got clients and customers in that vertical market. They can help you. You may not even know what you don't know as far as printing, scanning, copying equipment goes. I know when Trey gets to talking about it, he goes over my head sometimes, but I'm not in charge of buying the stuff here. If you don't know what you don't know, contact Trey Beal and the folks at Gulf Coast Office Products and let them make sure that your equipment in your office is making you run as efficiently as possible at the right price point as well. They can do that at Gulf Coast Office Products. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. About 45 minutes of LSU baseball. Talk some Saints and some LSU football and LSU basketball as well. That's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.